7 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. Everybody please stand. And Ricky, you want to do the devotion?
Bow your heads. Lord, we thank you, Lord, for another great day, Lord, that you blessed us with. Lord, we ask, Lord, right now that you would lead and guide each one of us, Lord, that sits here as leaders of this city, Lord, that you'll bless our city, Lord. Lord, that you'll be with each one of us, Lord, as we go home, Lord. Keep us safe, Lord. Lord, be with our soldiers overseas, Lord. Lord, and keep them safe. And most of all, Lord, we thank you, Lord Jesus, for giving your life, that each one of us, Lord, that can live, Lord, in free pardon of sin, Lord. In your holy, precious name, amen.
Amen. Do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Freeman, call the roll, please.
Mayor Kirkman, Council members Klein,
Present.
Harrison,
Yes.
Sawiski,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
and Smalling.
Here.
5 present.
Okay. We do have a quorum, and now we need to adopt the agenda, and there's 2 items that need to be added to the agenda, what I understand. I'd like to get a motion to adopt the agenda to add the bids to paint the police department building and add the bids for the public work pump that is outside the mayor's range of approval in price.
Make a motion to amend the agenda.
Second.
Freddie, will you call the roll on that item, please?
Lee,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Caleb,
Yes.
4 yes.
Okay. I'll be voting during the meeting, so if you want to write my name down as yes on that as well.
You can vote,
Mm-hmm. Well, clearly, I've done it in the past.
okay? Smalling,
Yes. Now I have the minutes to the 9/17/15 meeting.
Make a motion to
wait,
adopt.
excuse me just a moment. You've got to approve the agenda as amended. You amend it to add
Okay.
those items, now
Okay.
you've got to
Now we
approve it as
need-
amended.
To approve the agenda as amended.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion, we have a second. Ms. Rita, would you call the roll?
Klein,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Caleb,
Yes.
Smalling,
Yes.
and Lee.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay. Now we need to have the minutes to the 9/17/2015 meeting.
Did you skip public comments?
No one signed up.
Okay.
Public comment.
None? Okay.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, do we have any discussion on the 9/17/2015 minutes?
I got one correction. On social media, I voted no, and it states that I voted yes.
Okay.
Yes, I recall that.
Thank you.
I will change, please.
So we have a motion and a second. Do we need to amend our vote to reflect the changes, or how do we? Okay. Okay. If you'll call the roll on the minutes of the meeting.
Harrison,
Yes.
Caleb,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
and Brian.
Yes.
5 yes.
The September 2015 financial statement.
Make a motion to accept as read.
Second.
Ms. Freda, will you call the roll?
Discussion. On the very last page, we have equipment and purchasing pump. I thought that's where we were taking that 38,000 pump out of that we voted on in September.
Under which fund?
Sewer department, or is it underwater? We had line item 945 and 947, equipment and purchase pump, 10,000 and 16,000.
Okay. I don't have anything spent this month.
Okay. For the month of September, I thought that's when we voted to approve the 38,000 for the pump.
Okay, that means we haven't been invoiced for it. If I don't
Okay.
spend it, I don't.
So we gotta wait on the
Show it.
invoice. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the financial statement for September 2015. Ms. Rita, will you call the roll?
Caleb,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Smalling,
Yes.
and Harrison.
Yes.
5 yes.
Old business is the mowing contract at the baseball parks.
I want to make a motion, we table this for further discussion at a later date.
I'll second.
We have a motion, and we have a second about the mowing contract at the ballparks. Now, time for discussion.
Is there a reason we want to table it? Or
Do we have any
Yeah, I think
contracts?
we need a little more discussion on this. I don't even know why they want to change.
I just want to put it up for, I won't put it up for bids. See what kind of deal we get here. There's a lot of people that's interested in mowing, and we want to be more specific on the areas of mower and the ballparks, the picking up the trash at the ballparks. And even in the bids, I think we need to specify that we have the right to reject any of the bids that are presented.
True, but where are we taking it out of the budget since we didn't budget for it this year?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about for coming up. It'd be taken out of for the coming up year.
This was handed out at the work study.
Yeah.
And I wasn't here, I apologize for that. But Ms. Rita gave me a copy of it today, so I haven't really had time to look at it. And I feel like we've got time to
Oh, yeah.
go over it. And if there's things in here that we want to change or things we want to add, that we'd have time to do that from now and next season, or next budget season.
Okay.
So that's one of the reasons I would want to.
I think they're wanting to try to get this done before, not before next budget year, because that won't be till July next year when the new budget takes effect. But I think it's something they're wanting us to try to get addressed before next March or
March,
April
yeah.
or whenever it is that they start mowing again. But we still have,
Yeah.
we still have a month.
We got some time to discuss it and fix it to where we
To
can all
fix it
agree.
before time to start mowing, I guess, next year. Y'all still have questions about it.
Okay. Is there any more discussion about the mowing contracts?
We have to vote on the table at this time. Yeah.
We've got a motion, we've got a second. Guess Ms. Rita, call the roll.
Lee,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Smalling,
Yes.
Caleb,
Yes.
and Harrison.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay. Moving right along to new business. The call log, David Harrison.
Y'all seen a copy of it in your packet. I would just like to make a motion that we adopt this so that if anyone speaks to us about if they just talk to you in general about the council or the city, that's one thing. But if they speak to you specifically about how they would like for you to vote on a particular matter, I'd just like to know who the people are. So I put it on here, so I make a motion that we adopt the call or contact log.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And I'm ready for some discussion.
I'm just curious about the legal ramifications of having a call log.
It'd be a record of the city, it'd be subject to the Open Records Act. Anybody that wanted to come look and see who you've been talking to would have the right to do that. Of course, there's no law that requires this. It's only if you decide to do it to yourself. And if you vote to do it to yourself, then you've agreed to it.
So,
There wouldn't be any penalty that I'm aware of if you violated it, but.
no, but that would leave it open to other citizens to see what citizens are talking to us also.
Sure.
I'll tell you the reason I did this. We'll sit and discuss stuff at work studies for hours upon hours. And then I've heard several of you say, well, I got several phone calls from some people and they don't like this and will end up voting a different way than what I think we've all discussed. I just feel like if we're gonna change our vote based on a few people's phone calls, we deserve the right to know who are these people? Are they registered voters? Are they citizens of Westmoreland? Or are they just outside people? And so that's the reason I presented. I'd just like to know who's influencing our votes. And I'll turn one in as much as anybody else. If anybody contacts me or calls me and tells me how to vote.
It's one of the issues, though. From what you were stating, you didn't get any calls about the water rate increase at all.
I've got contacts by my wife and my mother-in-law and a few people, but
I've got a lot. And one of the things that, granted, I
see,
know.
that wasn't a vote. They wasn't calling you,
No.
telling you about a vote. They were just questioning
But there's
you.
multiple times, and
See what I'm saying?
I have no problem with putting my phone number out there also, and that's one of the things that social media allows me to do, and have people contact me through there, or text message or whatnot. I know a lot of people are saying no. I've had 4 people say yes, but once again, 3 of those didn't live inside the city limits. Out of the 11 that said that they don't want it, 2 didn't live inside city limits.
Go on what?
That wouldn't agree with the call log.
So these people got something to hide from us, or you could?
Well, no, if they want to talk, and that's something I state also. I also make sure I imply to them, I don't imply, I tell them, I'm not the only council member to talk to. But there's one issue right there. I make myself readily available. And I'm not saying nobody else does, but
My phone's in the phone book.
Let me ask you a question, David, to make sense for me. If a citizen calls you about a position that you're wanting to give you input that they're wanting you to vote on, and that citizen says, I don't want you to write my name down, but by creating a call log, because of public records, you're somewhat obligated to write their name down regardless if they want it wrote down or not. So what do you do in that case? I think we're opening up a whole door for something that potentially will be a big problem.
Okay.
That's the way I feel about it. So,
That's why we vote.
anybody have any more discussion about the call log?
Well, I'm gonna tell you about the call log now. That's my phone, that's private. My private conversations is private. And these people called me expecting it to be private. I mean, they do. And if you put me a call log down, they're not gonna call, because they know their name's going on a piece of paper. And whether you vote for it or not, I'm not gonna write it down.
Any more discussion about the call log? Okay, Ms. Frieda, will you call the roll on the call log?
Klein,
No,
Smalley,
No.
Harrison,
Yes.
Caleb,
no.
and Lee.
Yes.
3 yes, 2 no's.
Okay, motion failed. Next on the agenda is rehire Jackie Farley.
I'm gonna request that be withdrawn from the agenda.
If he's withdrawing it, I don't guess we have to vote
Don't
on
have
it at all.
the actions on it.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is street light on John Street. David has presented something in the packet to show y'all where this light would be placed.
Jerry asked me after the work study to go take a look at it. I don't know how many of you is familiar with where I'm talking about. Do any of you ever been to Oakwood Village?
Yeah.
When you turn into Oakwood, John's is that little street that turns and comes around the back of Oakwood Village. After the meeting that night, I did go take a look. I tried to put, you can see where it's got Oakwood Village in a couple of circles. Those are little security lights there actually on the Oakwood Village property. It's pretty lit right there, but once you do turn that curve, there is a section in there that was pitch black. And there is a pole, an existing pole there on the side of the road, so a pole wouldn't have to be put up. So there, it is a dark spot right through there. I've spoken with the manager at Oakwood, and she said that they do have quite a few people from there that walk to the bank and to price less food. So that's the reason I put it on there. Jerry asked me to look into it. So I make a motion, we install a street light on that existing pole there on John Street.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by David and a second by Ricky to provide a street light on the pole that's in place on John Street. Is there any further discussion on that? Anybody else have any questions? Ms. Frida, will you call the roll?
Caleb,
Yes.
Smalling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
and Klein.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, motion passes. Hire full-time officer Jonathan Bellavera, Benioff.
Council, this is Mr. Jonathan Bellavia. We spoke with the mayor briefly about hiring him part-time, and the mayor suggested that he go ahead and hire him emergency hire full-time for 30 days until the council met. In light of the recent vacation of a position by Officer Haney, we'd like to see if we could get Officer Bellavia hired in that spot. He's a well-developed officer. He's willing to do the job, has showed a real good aptitude toward that job and everything. And I'd really like to have him on our team if it's good with the council.
I talked to Ray, put a lot of faith in what Ray tells me.
I do too.
He made the recommendation, and I'm gonna make the motion that we hire him full time.
I'll second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any discussion?
What credentials do we have for this officer?
Associate's degree criminal justice from Middlesex Community College, Bedford, Massachusetts, 1997. 13 years law enforcement experience, to include 3 in the jail, Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, Charlotte, North Carolina. 5 years Hendersonville Police Department, Tennessee Post Certified 2001. 5 years Millersville Police Department, Sergeant U.S. Army Reserves Military Police Corps. 1 combat tour in Afghanistan, and almost 7 years of experience in the United States Army Military Police Corps.
Cool.
And he still is a reserve officer. And,
In the last department you worked for?
Millersville Police Department.
Millersville.
When I saw we were hiring an officer, I thought about some things for tonight about this. We typically hire with a 90-day probationary period. It's automatic, and I wanted to make sure everybody here was aware that he would be hired with a 90-day probationary period. So after 90 days, you know, you'll have the benefits and everything as a retroactive, I'm assuming, correct? But you'll be on probation period for 90 days.
yes, sir.
He still has to go through the eligibility period of the benefits.
Yes, but whatever the starting time will be.
I got one more question when y'all get through with that. You come from Hendersonville to Millersville, right? Was there any problems from Hendersonville going to Millersville? Was there any problems with Hendersonville? Okay.
I've checked with some of the officers at Hendersonville. He was well liked there. He just a career change to Millersville.
It just strikes me odd going from Hendersonville to Millersville.
Well, Millersville was more proactive as well.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Frida, would you call the roll?
Smalling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Caleb,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
and Lee.
Yes.
5 yes.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
both.
Police vehicle?
We got a bid from Golden Circle Ford Lincoln that wants to carry us to government contract on a vehicle that we were looking at. I've only got one copy of it. There's 2 different bids there, one with the police package and one without the police package. I mean, it's inevitable we're going to have to replace a vehicle, considering what happened to the last one. We'd like to purchase a Explorer. It's more usable.
That's what it's saying.
Around here, we don't have anything in winter to get around in. These are all-wheel drive, set up for, it's a V6, set up for city driving or county. And we can get around anywhere in it, no matter what kind of weather we have.
These are the actual bids, or these are estimates?
Pardon me?
Are these bids or estimates?
Those are estimates from the government.
Now you say the police package, civilian package, what's gonna be the difference there? I mean, not price, but equipment.
All the equipment, it's gonna have the corner lights in it. It'll have grill lights. I think does it have one of the bars in it?
It comes with the divider and the
Cages.
floor.
Two of them.
It's got 2 cages in it, and it comes with the console in it. The console, the one that we have from the old car that was wrecked, it won't fit in that. So it comes with 2 cages, has to have 2 cages, it comes with a console, and it comes with a shotgun rack locked into it.
So we won't have nothing here that would fit this vehicle. We'd have to purchase lights, cages, if we bought it. Yeah. And if we get it through the police package, all that'd be under warranty, right?
That's a no-brainer.
Ms. Freda, so you said today, in our conversation, that we received a certain amount of insurance money for the previous vehicle, and that was how much money?
20,000, 700 or 800 one.
Okay.
And then we like one payment on that vehicle. So when you take the 8,000 plus payment off of it, then we've got about $12,000 to put up toward a new vehicle.
I thought the 8,000 was already budgeted for that.
Well,
It is.
part of it is.
Yeah.
But you still
Now
got,
it all was.
Yeah, so now
That
we've got
final
enough.
payment was.
Yes. So there's still a little bit of difference we'll have to make up, but not much. Do you know how soon we'd be able to get this vehicle, Denny?
Pardon me?
How soon we'd be able to get this vehicle?
If we get it, it could be delivered immediately to Miracle Ford.
Would it come as a white vehicle, or are you ordering it
That's the blacks.
at the blacks?
I guess we need a motion to purchase this vehicle.
Make a motion to purchase vehicle with the police package.
Second motion.
we need to state a quote a price.
The
Yeah,
cheaper
because
one was 35, 225.
With the police package, right?
Yes.
That's what all the police people.
And we have to budget 12 for the next 2 years for the rest remaining of it.
are we in discussion mode?
Not yet.
Yes.
We just
Well,
got, well,
Yeah,
first
it's
about
in
second,
discussion.
that's what-
It's in discussion.
with the price. Y'all agree on the price?
Yes.
Okay.
In the past several times we've bought police vehicles, we bought them with extended warranties.
Yes, sir.
So what do we want to, do we want to put
That
that
would
in
be,
the
that would
motion?
be an option after the vehicle is purchased with us, purchased or contracted with the extended warranty.
Okay. Do you have the price on that?
No, sir, I do not right now.
Because we found in the past, of y'all that's been around for a while, it was very cost efficient.
It was
As
very
much,
efficient.
as much mileage, as
One
much
time it
use.
pays for itself.
Yeah, one time it's already paid for itself. So we've, nearly every vehicle we bought for the police department, we have bought it with extended warranty.
Paid off every time.
Do we have the ability to buy that now or after we receive the vehicle? Or-
We could
It
get
comes
as
part
well.
of the, in the past, we've had it part of the package when we chose the extended warranty.
Okay, but it's not in the package right now, so I don't know how we.
So we don't know a price to give you for the motion because we don't know.
We don't, yeah.
I can check on that and come back, work session with it, and let you know then.
Can you go on months without a vehicle, I mean, or?
If it's below the mayor's approval, he can approve it.
It will not be below,
No,
in the
no,
whole
it'll
package.
Be right above it, won't it?
You talking about the extended warranty?
Yeah, extended warranty.
Oh, the extended warranty,
The extended
it usually runs about $3,500.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. If it could potentially be below
I thought you
Jerry's,
meant the whole package.
could be below Jerry's approval rating, we could let him do it, you know. And y'all could vote tonight contingent on that, I would assume, that it falls within his range of purchase. If you wanted to do that.
Y'all want to amend your
I'll amend
motion
I'll amend
purchase
the
it?
motion to allow Jerry to possibly purchase the extended warranty package.
Once he receives the figures.
Is that good for a second still?
Yes, I'll second. Been my second. Is there money in the, of course, everybody knows we've got a tight budget, but is there money in the drug fund that could go toward purchase, part of this purchase price?
Yes, sir, there is some money in there.
There's
I
not
don't know
enough
exactly
to
how
pay
much.
all of it.
No,
No, there's not
Okay.
enough, all of it.
There is an option, instead of financing this is a thought, instead of
Please.
financing the extended warranty, buy the extended warranty out of the drug fund. There is funds available for it.
We could do that.
and that wouldn't need a motion there,
No.
or anybody's approval.
Yeah,
Do what?
Chief can do that.
Yeah.
We're gonna amend the motion again.
I can do it, I can
Withdraw the amendment.
amendment. Or just withdraw.
Withdraw it, yeah.
Withdraw the
Start
amendment.
over. Are you with us, Freda?
We withdraw all that.
And thank you for your suggestion.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for bringing that up.
So let's start all over.
Okay. I make a motion to purchase the vehicle for the lowest bid price with the police package, period, point blank stop.
Okay.
Won't you go ahead and, I mean, I can't,
With him purchasing the extended
Yeah,
warranty
yeah.
through the drug fund.
out of drug
Yeah,
fund.
I guess that
Yeah,
works.
and I'll second that motion.
Just hang in there with us, Fred.
Jigsaw puzzle there.
I'm good.
Okay. Have a motion and a second, and I think we've discussed this already. So, Ms. Freda, if you're prepared to call the roll?
Harrison,
Yes.
Caleb,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes,
Lee,
Yes.
and Smalling.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay. I guess the next item is yours to advertise for the
Well,
full-time, part-time officers.
we've kinda got a full crew right now, we just got one off on, workman's comp,
He's scheduled to come back November 24th.
November 24th.
Okay.
And then we'll have a complete crew then, but he'll still have to go to the academy.
Okay, so you're still one down, but you just one down at
Yes,
this
sir.
moment in time.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
What about part-time officers?
We got a bunch of them.
Okay.
It's hard to find a part-time.
The next
officer.
item on the agenda pertaining to job applications will help you out, because I think we're gonna talk about accepting applications for all positions at all times. So that'll help you out going forward. While you're up here, we amended the agenda to add the bids to paint the police department.
Yes, sir. We've only had one bid come in. If you don't mind passing it around for me, sir. Mr. Jerry Miller gave us a bid. And I think it's kind of reasonable myself. I'm not a painter, so, you know, I don't know a whole lot about pricing the job or anything.
they don't know Jerry Miller, they don't put,
Poochie.
Yeah, start to say.
I have it.
Mr. Miller, he's been doing it the biggest part of his life, and I think he do a good job. He's one that done our ceilings in the police department there, and he done a real good job of that. So I feel like he'd do a good job on the painting too.
He does.
I make a motion, we accept,
Second motion.
I'm sorry,
I made a motion to accept the bid.
Have a motion by Ricky to accept the bid from Jerry Miller for the painting, and we have a second by David Lee to accept the bid. Any more discussion? How soon will he be able to start?
I'd say he could start it just as soon as he gets the word.
Yeah, I think that's right. Maybe all night with it, but Don't have to put up with him all night.
Ms. Free, will you call the roll?
Caleb,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Smalling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
and Klein.
Yes.
5 yes.
Motion passed. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next thing on the list is
Ben,
job applications.
Bid.
Oh, bid.
I'm gonna have to have a copy of that. I don't have anything on that at all.
This was discussed at the work study, and I don't know that much about the intention for it to be on the agenda, but I understand that it is for us to
Except the job
to
application.
make a motion, for someone to make a motion to accept job applications at Ms. Frida's request up to a year, not 6 months. 6 months is what we
Me hold them for a year.
hold them for 6 months. Hold them for a year, not 6 months.
1 year retention is federal law,
Yes,
so.
okay. But that was her recommendation to hold them for a year. So,
I'll make a motion, to accept the application and hold them for a year.
and that's all city positions, correct?
All city positions, yeah.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ricky and a second by Caleb to accept job applications and hold them for a period of 1 year. Ms. Frida, will you call the roll?
I've just
Discussion.
got,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've got a question. So if 6 months from now, we have an opening in the police department or public works or anywhere, would we won't advertise that we have an opening? We'll just go and look at whatever applications we have currently?
Well, I think we would still advertise. It's
Because
just-
there could be
yeah,
someone
yeah.
new that's moved
Well,
in.
my-
We have to
has-
advertise.
We'll still have to
That's what-
advertise.
Okay, that's.
My concern,
so.
my concern with it was if we accepted applications for 6 months and we needed somebody on that 7th month, all of a sudden, we had a stack of applications we couldn't consider. You
Yeah.
know, that was the biggest concern I had, because
Well,
then we'd have to start all over, so.
I just
this
want to
way-
make sure we were still gonna
Advertise, yeah.
advertise for positions for,
And Ms. Frida,
refresh people's
well,
memory
will-
or.
The girls at City Hall will let the people know that their application is good for a year. And, from the day that they turned it in, so it's fairly easy for them to know when they need to reapply, so they'll know if a position's available if they already have an application on file.
Okay.
We always give out the application when someone requests. We might tell them that there's no positions available at the time, but we will take your application. That's been the norm always since my term's been over there, so.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second to accept the job applications and hold them for a year's time. Any more discussion? Ms. Freda, will you call the roll?
Lee,
Yes.
Smalling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
and Caleb.
Yes.
5 yes.
Motion passes. Let's go ahead and do the mayor's mileage and then the city recorder interviews, and we'll go back to the pump last, I guess. The next thing on the agenda is mayor's mileage. It's in your packets. Anybody have any questions?
Motion to approve mayor's mileage.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to accept the mayor's mileage. Ms. Freda, will you call the roll?
Smalling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Caleb,
Yes.
and Lee.
Yes.
5 yes.
Next thing on the agenda is the city recorder's interviews, and I talked to Jerry about that today. And one of the things that we talked about is he wanted to discuss the starting salary tonight for that individual, and to notify the ones that we have potentially picked to interview what the starting salary would be. And I talked to John Bradley about that today, and if we're going to do that, we might want to advertise for another week with the salary requirement. That way, we would have an opportunity to let people know what the salary requirement would be. And I guess I can go ahead and say it. I feel like with the discussion I had today, the applicants that we had chosen, we may have inadvertently chose to pick someone that didn't meet the job requirements, and this would give us an opportunity to change the job requirements if necessary.
Well, here's what I've been thinking. I've been thinking a lot about this since work study. And in my opinion, no one knows what qualifications are needed for that position more than Frida, who is sitting in the position. So I was planning on making a motion to allow Frida to look at the applications and pick the top 3 that she qualified candidates that, in her opinion, looking at all their qualifications, pick the top 3 and schedule an interview for us for next week, a special called meeting for us to interview her top 3 choices. Because we can look at the applications. You have not been to Certified Financial Officer School, or Ricky, or David, or me, or Caleb, none of us. She knows more about the job and who she thinks is qualified more than any of us. So I don't know if you're ready for a motion of that effect, but I had sort of thought of letting her look through them. She can take what we've suggested into account, but let her look through the applications and pick the top 3, and then we'll still be the ones that interviews her top 3 choices and makes the final decision.
I think at the last meeting, that was my intent when I said, let Frida and Jerry, because both of them are familiar with the job, let them pick the top ones that were qualified for it, no matter what I thought.
Yeah.
And, or no matter what we thought. I want them to pick out the top qualified.
Jerry has had the position, and Frida's had it for many years now, so. But in my opinion, I don't see that we need to re-advertise it most people on job applications on the salary will put, if they're serious about the job at all, they'll put negotiable, That's the first rule of thumb. Anybody that knows when you're submitting a resume to put negotiable down, don't name your price on your resume. You could be shooting yourself in the foot or knocking yourself out of even being considered, for an interview. So.
I kind of had the same thought you did, and I felt like without a base salary to start with, let's just say 3 out of 5 people decided it wasn't worth their efforts, and then we interviewed 4 people, and the 4th person is the person that's least qualified. What do we do then?
That can be part of your question interviews. Are you willing to start at such and such salary?
Right.
May I speak, Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
And where do you get to re-advertise to change the requirements? Because the requirements, qualifications in there is pretty firm on getting that job done over there. I don't know what you were thinking about changing. Mr. Bradley, have you got any suggestions on any of this?
I've not seen the job description, so.
Okay.
I don't think we need to re-advertise. I just think we need to narrow the list, like I suggested last time for Frida and Jerry to look it over. And because I've looked the application over. There's some on there that I feel like's qualified for the job. I feel like they are. But now I want somebody. But I've not been in that position, but Frida and Jerry have. And that's why I thought it'd be best if they narrowed it down to the top 3 or 4, and we interview them. And if we get through those interviews and none of them, we can't come up with a price, then we'll just have to go on to the next ones.
Okay.
I thought, by talking to the mayor, he had narrowed it down to 4.
Now, he narrowed it down to 4 that we suggested. That we said, he asked us to turn in those names, and he's narrowed it down to them.
Okay.
But we could have picked
But we could have picked some that wasn't even qualified.
Yeah, that's the reason why I said I felt like it was.
He hasn't got with you, has he, Frida?
Jerry has,
Yeah.
but he gave me y'all's pick.
See, that wasn't my intent.
Yeah.
And I suggested too that one was on the 4 picks, and then there was another one that wasn't. And evidently he spoke with Brian today, and he don't want to interview my pick, so.
Yeah, that's pretty much the truth of it. So, that, his recommendations were tonight to discuss the salary and not discuss the names because of the conflict.
Okay.
So that's where we were at with that. That's why he didn't want to discuss the names. He wanted to iron that out before we released the names of the people.
I'm sorry, we don't want to do what?
He didn't want to discuss the names of the people we were going to interview tonight. He wanted us to discuss the salary. That way we'd have time to iron that out and still do what everybody agreed on doing. So, if you were talking about a base salary, what do y'all think?
I've had a, I know what Frida started out, but I ain't gonna tell them. I just don't think she started out quite what I would have went with. I would have went more with 37.5. That sounds more reasonable. Because she started out a little bit lower than what I would have went through with.
If
It's gonna,
we boil it right down to it, it's the most important position in the
Yep.
city of Westmoreland. It's in my opinion. I mean, as far as contact with the public, and she or whoever's in that position holds the umbrella that everybody else and every other employee falls under. So it's a very important position. And I'm not sure that 37.5, of course, I don't know.
Well, it's starting off with no certifications either.
Yeah, that's true.
that's what I'm counting.
What do you
Once
think
they
about
go
that
over
price,
it,
Frida,
37.5
for a start out?
for our budget, I think that's pretty reasonable.
And then we can, once they obtain the certifications that's needed, just like Public Works or anybody else,
You're right.
we'll start advancing them once they reach those goals.
I'll make a motion to start out the city recorder as at 37.5.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for the recorder's base salary to be 37.5. Any more
But
discussion?
what if we interview some of these candidates and they've already met these requirements? Is that salary gonna be negotiable at that time? Or is
Are you
that
talking
set?
about requirements or certifications?
The requirements are some of the certifications?
None of them have met the certifications.
Okay.
You have to go after you're in that position.
Okay,
And then
Unless you get someone that's already been through the CMFO program, then they're already certified, as long as they maintain their 24 hours a year to maintain that certification.
But none of the applications that
No, sir.
we've received
No, sir.
That's correct.
had met those.
You have
had
the
those
certified
certifications.
municipal finance officer that you have to be certified within 2 years after you're hired. If not, the city is fined $50 a day for every day till that certification is obtained. Then you have the city recorder's certification that you can get in 36 months. Those are the two main required certifications by the state.
But I think to answer your questions, unless they meet the requirements that the job posting stated, we shouldn't be interviewing them to begin with. They shouldn't, that's the reason why I was wanting to let Frida
Yeah.
make that choice, but it sounds like that's been for whatever reason.
Well, there's one on there that doesn't meet the qualification that you all submitted to interview.
That's kind of what I said. I mean, if we,
Yeah.
and it was, I don't think it was invertibly that person was chosen just out of the blue. I think it was just happened to be,
Well, let's vote on the salary package. now.
I'll second that motion.
I already had a second.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's right, we was discussing it.
We have a motion and a second, and if we, any more discussion on the salary base starting pay for the recorder? Okay, Ms. Frida, will you call the roll?
Johnson,
Yes.
Klein,
Yes.
Caleb,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
and Smalling.
Yes.
5 yes.
Motion
I've
passes.
got to act like a dummy. I've got
Okay.
to ask a question. I'm confused. Let's state this again.
Okay.
The mayor, what was you saying that he wants, what's he wanting to do with the applications, or what?
He wasn't prepared to release the list of names of the people we were going to interview at this time because he's wanted to have the salary in place when we interview the people. And we will notify the people that we have chosen to interview what the salary would be. And I'm assuming that since we haven't voted on accepting the names of the people to interview, him and Ms. Freda will sit down and talk about that and move forward, because I wasn't here, and I'm assuming that was your intent for
That was
to
my
happen.
intent.
That's what I'm sort of leaning towards too, so that's the reason why I was wanting to see if I could still make the motion I was wanting to make, or if I'm going to be going against what the mayor was trying to suggest. I reckon that's where I was confused at. I would still like to let her look the applications over despite what we may have submitted.
And I'd like for Jerry to be involved with that,
Yeah.
with her and Free, because
Her.
Jerry knows the job, you know.
Yeah.
If we need to put that in form of a motion, I guess we can't we?
I make a
I think that's what he's
motion,
already done, though.
I make a motion that we allow Frida and Jerry to look over the applications, pick the top 3 that they feel meet the qualifications and the requirements for the job, and set up a special called meeting for us to interview next week, and during the discussion, we can decide which day. That's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
He originally wanted to set up the Tuesday, the 20th at 6 p.m. for that date.
So
and
that's
time.
this
Next-
coming
that's
Tuesday.
next
Is
Tuesday.
that good with everybody? Okay, Tuesday at 6.
May I speak?
Mhm.
As good of applicants that we have, I feel like it needs to be more than 3 interviewed.
Okay.
I personally do.
What do you suggest? And,
At least 4, possibly 5.
5. I'll amend my motion. Okay, I'll amend the motion to the top 5 candidates that they determine are qualified.
Okay.
I'll second
You
the
seconded the
amendment.
amendment? Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Does that mean that we disregard the 4 that you guys picked at this time?
That was just a suggestion anyway,
Yes,
yeah.
it wasn't a,
I think we want to keep that in consideration, but that would be up to the two.
yeah, I mean,
ladies.
they can still look at the names that we submitted and see if they meet the qualifications. If not,
If not, we don't need this, yeah, and
they
Jerry,
don't have to go by who we suggested. That's what my motion is. They know more about it than we do.
Okay. We have a
So the
motion.
top 5.
So mayor, and this is a discussion point, Mayor and Frida would come up with a list of top 5 of who we're going to interview and then vote on.
Yes.
Okay, so.
And what, you said Tuesday, the
20th, starting at 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Any more discussion?
And that means we're leaving out the ones that we picked, right?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
That's up to the discretion of Jerry. He's got the list of names that we all picked
Okay.
from, and he can choose from there if he feels necessarily to interview those people.
Well, what we're saying though, if we suggestion someone, and then they really look at them and say, well, they don't meet the requirements, that doesn't necessarily mean that someone that we suggested will get interviewed. They were suggestions.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got you.
And let me ask Mr. Bradley something. If it's just an interview process, Mr. Bradley, do we have to classify that as a special call meeting? I know
Yes.
it's open to the
Yeah.
public, but,
Yes.
okay.
Because I thought we were after the interview process, are we not going to discuss it among ourselves and make a decision that night, or? Because, see, it's already the middle of October, and we were hoping to try to get someone in as soon as possible, so I thought we would interview and then discuss it among ourselves and make a decision.
Will it be
and
at the
vote.
November council meeting, and they'd start the first week of December? Well,
That's what I'm saying, that's only gonna give.
You could do a special call meeting at the work study to
Yeah.
vote on it.
I thought Jerry told me he was
Give us a little
gonna,
time to think about it.
gonna do the interviews in like a closed session. That we had the right to do interviews in a closed session rather than,
As long as we went and voted.
right.
yeah, that was what I understood
Is that
today.
true?
There's no way you could do that
As
without
long as we
discussing.
weren't-
There's
as
no
long
way
as
you
we
could go
voted.
through that evening without you talking to each other.
Yeah,
That's
that's right.
discussion,
You
that's
need a-
sunshine law.
So it would
I
still
mean,
have
you
to
couldn't
have.
discipline yourself that much. Nobody could.
Okay. So we'll have to do a special call meeting?
Yeah.
Is now enough time to do that? Okay, for next
We
Tuesday?
can call a special call meeting within 48 hours, can't we, Mr. Bradley?
I think that's what the charter says.
Okay.
I think it's a minimum of 48 hours. There's no reason to just do it 48 hours in advance. You've got plenty of time to give at least a week's notice.
Okay, so we had a motion for Jerry and Frida to review the applicants
Okay.
and the names that we submitted for interview and come up with a decision on who to physically
The
interview.
top 5.
Yes, okay. Any more discussion? Ms. Frida, call the roll.
Klein,
Yes.
Caleb,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Smalling,
Yes.
and Harrison.
Yes.
5 yes.
Okay, motion passes. One more item, the pump rebuild at the pumping station. Adam?
We had a pump go down, let's see, I can't remember what day it was, Monday, I think. No, Friday. And we tore it apart and it had a rubber gear that had stripped out. So we replaced the rubber gear, put it all back together, and the rotor was locked up. We've never tore one down, but I didn't figure, heck, it's gonna be that hard, so we took it to the shop and tore it down and found where we can order just the rotor, the module, and everything. Our motor's good, and just bolt it right back up to the motor and tank for about $5,300. Plus, we need to buy filters for it and everything. It's gonna be about $1,000 extra, probably $6,300 plus shipping for everything. But the reason that's to fix that one. But we got another vacuum pump weak at Station 2 somewhere, one of the two, because when that one went out, those two pumps should have kept that station up all night. Matter of fact, we left at 5 o'clock because they should have kept it. Those two pumps should keep that station up. Called back in, I come in back, I think it was 7:30 that night. The station was plumb bottomed out, wouldn't build up. You could shut every line, you just have one line open and it would build up. And so we knew we didn't have any valves hung, so we wound up going and robbing a pump from Station 3, so we're short a pump down there now, just to get that station going. But one of those other pumps in Station 2 is down too. I mean, I don't know which one it is, we'll have to do some checking to see for sure. But one of them
Are you
is
saying you
weak.
think it's possibly the same fix that
Maybe, yeah.
you won't know until you,
We'd have to tear it down.
Tear it
This
down
is
just
something,
like
the
you did
tearing them
this
down
one.
is something new to us, because Chris said they had never tore, he said they had kind of tore one down, but never ordered parts. He said they would just kind of tear it down and see what it looked like. And a rebuild kit for this thing was $4,300, and we've got it in 1,000,000 pieces right now. So, I mean, we can put it back together. If we can buy a rebuild kit for $1,000 cheaper, but that's if it didn't eat that module up, and we don't have no way of gauging to see whether it did or didn't. For another $1,000, you can buy the whole module. It's already mic'd out and everything. Stick it on there and bolt it up, and go back to running. For $6,300 plus shipping. But like I said, we're still going to be a pump short, but we may be able to tear that one apart and maybe the same issue.
Okay.
Because they're just not, one of them just not pulling its vacuum. I don't know which one it is, and really nobody knows a good way of testing a vacuum pump to see. So we're going to study into that and see if we can figure out how to test one to see which pump it is. Because there's two other pumps still in there, but one of them's not pulling its weight.
well, rebuilding sounds a whole lot better than replacing.
Well, the good thing is we've got a bunch of motors, because in the past they've always just, if a pump went down, they just threw the pump aside, wouldn't bought a new pump. Well, we've got probably 5 motors laying there that's good.
we got 1 or 2 motors laying there with wrapping still on. They ain't never even been used. So we've got motors. If we can just figure out, you know, if we can figure out how to rebuild these things pretty quick, I mean, it's gonna save you, a new pump's $20,000.
Yeah.
So it's gonna save you, you know,
Quite a bit of money.
$14,000 to rebuild them. And it didn't take us long. It took us probably, we actually changed those pumps out in about 2 hours that night, from station 3 to station 2. And but tearing one down and putting one back, if we had everything there and we could tear it down and put it back together, probably half a day once we got good at it. Like it's a learning process for all of us right now because none of us has ever done it. So
And what's the cost with the new modules and the filters?
it's going to be, well, it's $5,300 for the parts, it's $1,000 for filters and oil, and so plus shipping. I don't know what shipping will be, but I'm gonna say probably no more than $7,000 probably. Probably not even that much hardly.
I
Who's this
make a
coming
motion.
It'll be coming from Airvac. We called it actually Bush Pumps. We thought we could buy the stuff cheaper through Bush Pumps because it's a Bush pump. But I guess they've got to deal with Airvac, and Airvac can get it $1,000 cheaper than we can buy it from Bush.
I'll make a motion that they purchase the rebuild kit with the new modules and the filters and all with shipping.
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second to purchase the Airvac for $5,300 plus $1,000 plus the shipping.
Have we got the money there to cover this, Rita?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any more discussion? Ms. Frida, call the roll, please.
Caleb,
Yes.
Lee,
Yes.
Smalling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
and Klein.
Yes.
5 yes.
All right, motion passes.
When we get that one in and see if them two's gonna keep, you know, if we get that one and figure out which other bad one is down there, we can take the other bad one out and get another kit if that one works good. You know, like I said, this is just
Well,
kind
can't
of.
you take that thing and shift it from one to the other one to see where the weak one is?
Well, yeah, you can kind of time it, but
Right.
with our system, as fast as everything draws off of it,
Yeah.
it's hard to do that because if it was all new, yeah, it'd be no trouble. Just section each pump off, kick this pump on,
Yeah, right.
you know, and see what the time is to pump up. But you don't never know what valve is opening, and this
Well,
thing leaks everywhere, and it's just hard to get it.
It worked that day though.
Yeah, yeah.
Bank on that.
Yeah, I'd like to get this one in and try it to be sure that we,
Okay.
you know, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
You know, because like I said, it ain't that complicated, but it ain't no putting Legos together neither. And so we'll see.
Well, that can be complicated sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know what you're trying to build.
What I've seen here lately, correct? Okay, I guess that's everything. We have a motion to adjourn.
Wait, I've got something to pass out to you
Okay.
guys, if you don't mind.
Thank you, Adam.
The annual awards dinner for the Sumner County Council of Government will be November the 4th. Here is some details about it. The mayor says that the city will pay for the councilman and the department supervisor, and you are allowed to bring one guest or ever how many guests you want to, but you have to pay $25 for the guest if you choose to bring a guest. So here is the form. I think everybody's familiar with it, with the exception of these two. If you all contact me later, I can tell you about it. It's all the cities within the Sumner County, and different ones hosted. We hosted it back in 2000, and Ricky was mayor, 8, I guess, or 9. But anyway, if you got any questions, y'all two get with me and I'll talk about it. And I need these forms turned in no later than the 21st, because I have to let Portland know how many were coming. Just got this week, or I would have put it in your package, okay?
Thank you.
We have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
All right, adjourn.